when you're trying to make money, you're playing an attacking game. When you're trying to keep your money, you're playing a defending game. So when you're trying to make money, you want to focus on one thing as much as possible, one company, and then when it gets to a certain point, you can take that money and put it in other diversified things.
Welcome Olympians, welcome back to Olympus Talks. I'm your host Zeus
Hercules
Kratos.
Yes sir, and we have a special guest today, SAMROCK himself. You know, big businessman. We're going to be doing an episode today with him. I know y'all going to be looking forward to this. This is technically going to be our first business-centric episode. You know, y'all be wondering, we're business people here. Why we're not talking about any business? Can't leave that out. You know, it can't just be about the sex and the relationship and the drama and the toxicity all the time. You know, we have to dive into some professional
stuff. The only
stuff.
way we can get sex and relationships is with money.
Exactly, you know.
Lord God, I feel sorry.
You have to know your priorities, people. Alright, so stay tuned. Alright, so starting off today's episode, we're going to be diving into business. And to start off that aspect, we're going to be asking a very, very interesting, thought-provoking question. What does business mean to you? And starting off, we're going to be asking SAMROCK himself. What does the word business mean to you, sir?
You're going to ask me like I own a business or something.
Yeah.
But, alright. So I have two ways to define it. There's my personal way, and then there's in terms of from someone who actually owns a business, from that perspective, right? Business, money.
Yeah.
Everybody, when everybody think business, everybody think money. You can't have a business and you're not making any money. That's the reason we had the whole crash after COVID, because there was a bunch of businesses not making any money, but they were worth a bag of money on paper, and they're operating out of debt, but they weren't making any money. So that's why we had a financial crisis post-COVID.
Yeah.
But when you think of business in the way I want to do business, the way I try to do business, the way I hopefully am doing business, is simply business is just a means to provide value to your community or those around you. Whether you see you're operating on a local level, regional level, or global level, it's just a means of providing value to others and them compensating you with some money. You know? So for me, my business, like I said, SAMROCK Supplements and SAMROCK Distributors. There's two sides to the company.
But, check it out. We're gonna leave description. It's in description, people. So check it out.
Simply providing supplements, fitness supplements, and health foods, that kind of thing, making them accessible, and affordable to the majority of Jamaicans. Because I think prior to me starting this company, they were very inaccessible. In the sense that there were very few locations where you could get them. They were hard to get. They were expensive. There wasn't a huge variety. Whereas in trying to provide value, I structured my business in order to make it accessible through offering free delivery island wide, and offering the lowest prices possible.
Yeah, well said, bro. Well said. Coming from a true businessman. Ricky, you're in business right now. What does the word business mean to you?
Alright, for me, I realized that powerlifting was a recent event in Jamaica, at least. Although the country it was one of the very first countries to actually start up powerlifting in 1972. But ever since 1972, Jamaica hasn't been on the powerlifting scene up until 2021. And we all love lifting, and we saw it as a good opportunity. We started Olympus much earlier than the first nationals that we did. We just went with our monikers, and each of our names that we got from the group represented some kind of characteristic from the Greek mythology that we know and love. But apart from that, we saw it as me and Bruce saw it as a very good investment when it came on to fitness and strength and conditioning, and breaking myths when it comes on to lifting, fitness in general, and other stuff like that. We eventually want to get into business, opening a facility. Don't really want to give too many details because it's an idea that we want to have unique to just us, and the facility itself being unique in the whole country, possibly even the region. And we've been doing putting in small steps to get to that bigger goal. For example, the deodorants, fitness, people are going to sweat, people are probably going to smell bad. Bruce came up with a very unique innovation with creating Olympus Fresh. And it's been a very good innovation, a very good business strategy. He's been getting a lot of sales, putting Olympus out there. letting everyone know that it's not just about the big idea of a facility. There are other things added on to Olympus, as well as me coming up with the idea of turning Olympus into a powerlifting club. So even the president of the Powerlifting Association gave us commendations to say that he liked the mere fact that we are probably one of the few groups that are getting more and more people into powerlifting. Because we always welcome
we help the
everybody.
industry as a whole.
We always welcome everybody. We're not partial. If you're interested into getting into strength sports, it doesn't necessarily have to be powerlifting, because we have a few bodybuilders. Nicholas is a bodybuilder. That's Bruce's brother. He was on a few previous episodes.
Champion bodybuilder at that.
Winning trophies and stuff like that. So we welcome everybody.
And piggybacking off what Ricky said, business, we're not just in business for ourselves, with collaborations, for example, like even with Sam here, collaborations with the Powerlifting Association, because right now people, I don't know if y'all saw, but we're officially now sponsors for the MPAJ, which is a big step in the right direction. The business is growing on all fronts. Jugs right now is dealing with the training program side of the business.
Nutrition side is all aspects of fitness and just training overall. So strength and conditioning, flexibility, mobility, which that's basically something in the work. But right now it's mostly strength and hypertrophy. Training.
Well, Olympus, it's called Spartan Protocol.
Anabolic Spartan Protocol.
So y'all look out for that big program coming soon. Kamal, as usual, in the background, working tirelessly behind the camera with our podcast.
Sweating his balls off.
Sweating his balls off over there in the sun.
We always appreciate his efforts to make it to every episode, as always. So big up to the cameraman, technical crew, Komaldi.
Yes, sir.
Every time.
Kronos himself, in the flesh. And all the other initiatives that we have in the pipeline, growing right now. Olympus, as I said, we don't have a particular niche. We're just a lifestyle brand, essentially. Anything fitness related, powerlifting related, we'll back that, right? And we'll dive even deeper into it as time goes by. So business for me personally is just adding some type of value to society. Obviously you want to get back from it from a monetary standpoint, but adding some kind of value to society that can benefit people around you, and also yourself at some point, But yeah, pretty much. All right. I definitely want to ask you that question also, Jugs. What does business mean to you?
Alright, my definition of business came from my years of doing economics, right? So basically it's like you identify some kind of demand in society, right, in the market, and then you try to see how best you can meet the market demands with the lowest cost possible, right? So
spoken like a true economics student, people,
doing a minor in it, by the way, so kind of struggling, but so it's basically identifying a demand in the market, and because resources are scarce, as I said, you just want to create value, as much value as you can, by trying to cut out as much overhead costs and all of that. For the most part, that's business, and it's reciprocating and receiving the value in the process. So you provide value to people, and then the value would be not just money alone, as I said. It's about doing partnerships with other people.
Because once you meet that demand, the demands of the customer, then the monetary aspect will fall into place. That's just a given. So that's a pretty technical definition. It sounds really good at the same time. All right. So going into our next question, what are your top five do's that you recommend to people getting into business?
Oh, when they're starting a business? What? Look, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, if you're not 100% committed, first thing, if you're not 100% committed to it, don't do it. It's hard. Alright? Starting a business, boy, if I had $1 for every time somebody told me, what are you doing? What are you doing selling supplements? What are you doing selling to supermarkets? What are you doing walking around the gym trying to sell supplements all day instead of going to school?
Because I was told that you have an engineering degree.
So I actually have a 4-year degree in engineering from the University of Sydney. that is in aerospace engineering.
That's a big deal.
Or aeronautical engineering.
Yeah, for you to transition into business, that's a big deal.
It is, but keep in mind, my family has been in business all my life. That's all I've known from my family perspective. You know, my parents, you know, we have a wholesale downtown, and I used to work in there. I've seen that place grow from when we were selling out of a fucking car back.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and even to touch on that, I started selling out of my car back. So
You have to start from somewhere.
you have to start from somewhere.
So that's a definite do for you.
You need to be 100,
Yeah.
not even 100, 110% committed. You can't have any doubts, because especially when you're starting out, everybody's gonna look at you and think you're just a crazy person. Everybody's gonna look at what you're doing, and you're either gonna feel like they're just, you know, they're just being nice. Even if they're trying to support you, they're just being nice to you just because they know you, or just because you know they're trying to support you just a little bit because you know they feel bad for you, and you kind of feel like you're getting charity sometimes. But when you really start to see the value in your own business, and this is true for when you actually can provide value to other people, you're 100% sure that, you know, if this person buys this product or this service from me, that they're fulfilling a need that they have, and nobody else can fulfill it in the way you can. Then
your unique selling point.
yes, you can completely eliminate that. But that is later down the line, because you don't even know that until maybe a couple months in.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't have the customer base, you don't have the feedback, you don't have the data, you don't have the information. You're just starting.
Feeding things out right now. Yeah.
So alright, so that's the first thing. You need to be 110% committed.
Yeah.
Second thing, let's see. Besides being committed, what do you need? I mean, just start, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's start.
just start. The hardest part is starting.
Let's believe.
You want to get your kind of ducks in a row. You know, you don't want to. If possible, I always tell people this. I didn't start my business in any capital. I didn't take any money from anybody to start. I remember I had a PS3. I sold it. I had the games with it. I sold it. I had a few other stuff I had gotten over the years as a kid. You know, electronics. You know, valuables, that kind of thing. And I sold it, and I had just to get my starting capital.
Yeah. That's so serious, because those things have intrinsic value.
Yeah. So, I mean. It was rough, you know, parting with it, because this is my childhood right here. This is whatever.
True.
But I was sick and tired of being broke.
Yeah.
I was really sick and tired of not having any money, and this was during COVID too. I actually started during COVID.
Yeah. People, by the way, this guy is 24 years old. You know, someone like a man when I'm 40s, have 3 pitney already, and already second loan.
And he's our sponsor as well.
Yeah.
And we're the same age. Even though we look like 40, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Every time I go anywhere, people tell me I'm 47, so don't worry.
Someone like 40s also.
Yeah, so you don't need any money to start. The only thing, you need an idea and you need a way to get money in. So first thing, figure out a way to get money in. So if you need a little bit of capital to start, you know, for like what I did, I sold my personal belongings. I sold stuff. If you have, I would not recommend anybody borrow money to start a business.
Yeah.
If they can avoid it. And again, it depends on the business you're starting. It depends on, you know, whether or not, you know, you're involved with the banks yet, whether or not it's a service-based business or product-based business. But if you can, avoid starting the business with debt.
Yeah.
All right? You can always borrow later. If you see that the idea works, you can always borrow later, and in fact, you might actually get more later because you have a concept and it's tried and tested rather than just being on paper.
True.
You know, you can always go to the bank with a business plan. You can always go to a friend or a family member and say, hey, you know, I have this idea. Can you float me some money for this amount of time?
Yeah.
But then you're always gonna have that hanging over your head. And then when it comes time to pay, what if it doesn't work out? Because I'll be honest with you, when I just started, it wasn't working out. I remember one day I was looking at the books, and this, keep in mind, this was like a couple months into starting, and I was working. I would go to the gym in the morning. I would spend like half my workout trying to sell supplements to people. I spent all day working on the Instagram, you know, doing outreach to people, messaging people, trying to go to gyms, other gyms that I didn't train at, and convince people to buy from me, you know, making phone calls, you know, people I knew, whatever. And I remember at the end of it, I was making $10,000, $15,000 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
It was between $10,000 and $15,000 a month, and I was working all day, every day on it. It's all I could think about, and that's very disheartening.
Yeah.
I think you can imagine that. You know, imagine you work a job, right? You're working, even if you're working just the regular hours, 40 hours a week, and they give you 15 grand at the end of the month, not the end of the week, the end of the month.
15K.
15K.
Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, it always has to start out
From somewhere.
ugly is good
Yeah.
before it
Yeah.
gets pretty.
Okay, but then, you know, when I got that information, you know, I was able to take that information and turn it into something, because I realized that I had a problem with the way I was structuring the business. I had a problem with the way I was purchasing product, the way I was shipping it in. You know, I had to find other ways, and since I focused on fixing those problems, I was able to take the business, and the next month I was actually at the scale. I remember that next month I was able to do almost 100. From 15 to 100, and that was just by utilizing the capital that I had better. But
because you took a lot of the mistakes you had made prior to that time.
yeah. So third thing, you need to be able to learn from your mistakes, because you're always going to make mistakes in business. More often than not, you're doing something that nobody else has done before, and that's the difference between this and school. Even with engineering, oftentimes you have a problem, somebody solved a problem that was like 90% of the way there, and you can just kind of copy their process for the most part. I know that, you know, in computer science and other degrees, that you have similar things where, you know, there are problems that you have to solve, but until you're, you know, really up there, you're not really solving unique problems. You're solving problems that people have solved somewhere, somehow before.
Yeah,
in business, you're always trying to solve a problem, especially as an entrepreneur, not if you're just working in a business. You know, you're always trying to solve a problem that nobody else has had before, even if you're in the same industry, because if you solve it the same way somebody else has solved it, you're going to end up with their same business. And if you end up with their same business, you're going to be competing with them on the same level, and they're already ahead of you if they've solved that problem before. So you don't want to solve problems the same way other people have solved them if you can
especially
avoid
if
it.
you're just starting out.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, so fourth thing then. So the third thing was, you know, you need to learn how to solve problems that nobody else has solved before. You need to learn how to, you know, think critically and, you know, be creative.
Yeah.
Business is a logic game and business is a creative game. You gotta be able to play both. You can't just be one or the other, because, you know, you'd be surprised at the solutions you come up with when you stop thinking just one way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the thing that you think would never in a million years
Might be the perfect
solution. So I'll give you an example, and this is a common example that's floating around the internet now, but this is actually quite funny. I actually use it in my business. I can't remember the name, but he's a marketing guy, and he said, you know, sometimes the best way to increase demand for a product is to put up the price. Now that doesn't make any sense by any stretch of the imagination. Don't. Like if you go to a store and you see you see something you want, some toothpaste.
Yeah.
Say a bottle of toothpaste is $500, right? You say, you know, it's not selling, you know, because it's too expensive. No, it's not. The toothpaste itself, it doesn't look that luxury. You know, it's just, you know, I can buy this brand for a little bit cheaper, you know, or I could buy this super expensive brand that's more luxury for like double the price. But you can go back at it, and the store owner comes back another day and he markets it as like a luxury thing. He says, okay, now it's $1,000. People are more inclined to buy it because they're like, oh, hold on, maybe if I'm paying this much for it, maybe it works better.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
There's
like,
science to that.
you know, like that's just one example, and things like that happens all the time in business. All the time. Alright, so let's move on. Fourth thing.
Yeah,
Alright.
at this point I think you listed like 10. You know.
I did? Okay, well, alright, let's go to the next
You know,
one.
people are straight. At this point we might also just make this the SAMROCK interview. You know?
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah,
Sorry for taking over your arm.
That was good.
That's
That was
cool.
good. That was good.
We need the information.
Alright, so
The
what
inside.
were you, Ricky? You don't have to give 5, you can just give a couple. Any amount? Yeah.
Well, we started Olympus when about in 2020. Well, we started the concept of Olympus in 2020, turned it into a business around 2022, when me and Bruce went to go and register it. Since then, I've been trying to come up with different ways of trying to put the business out there. I started out with making the image. Well, the first image was created by Kratos himself. That's the one with the laurel and the 3 figures, squat, bench, and deadlift with Olympus. So Jobs was the first, and it was a really cool design. Trust me, I've edited it, posted it on my IG page, rinsed it out, because the psychology for me is that even if no one knows about it, the mere fact that every day they see it, they're going to know about it. Even if they think that it's annoying, the mere fact that, oh, I know these guys, Olympus, I see them every day. You get me? I looked at the psychology of that just to get ourselves out there, and that was the first step for me.
Yeah,
after that,
aspect,
after that, the mere fact that everybody, I didn't necessarily designate myself as a leader or anything like that. It's just that the guys just voted me and just say, yo, Ricky, you look like you're doing a very good thing, because I was the one that was putting much of the work. Not that the guys weren't, but I was trying my best to get the business out there, the concept of what Olympus is. You get me? And I had the team with me, Zeus, Kratos, Kronos, the whole works, the whole pantheon was there. You get me? The next step was to try and move from making the concept obvious to everybody to now when them ask what is Olympus, what do they offer, now my work on what do we offer. You get me? Transitioned in with the first step. I tried to do like apparel, so I thought about a t-shirt concept. I created most of practically all of the designs, put them on shirts, but the first stumbling block I really buck up in was the capital, because it takes money to first buy the shirts and then the next money for print on the shirts. And when I looked into that, I printed a few shirts, I sold some, but then when I looked upon it, I said, this is going to take a lot of money, because when I really looked at the budget, probably a good 100 shirts is going to run me somewhere a little over $100,000, and then to print on them is a different money.
Yeah, it just wasn't
Yeah,
practical
so
at the time.
it was really too expensive. Maybe it can be something later on down the line,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, the big picture was to start the facility, to start Olympus. That was the big picture, and we're still working on it same way. But the thing is, there's a Stoic saying that says, it might be hard at first, but everything is hard at first.
Yeah.
And that's just what I went with. I'm a roll with it every day.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying, that perseverance aspect, there's a consistency aspect, the determination,
Determination. You have to
Yeah.
just keep at it. Just like Sam said, 110% from the start.
Yeah.
You can't have no waivers in your mind, because the moment you start doubting yourself is the moment effort and productivity starts going down.
Exactly.
You have to put in 110%, even more. You get me? The next thing is that you have to have a team with you. No man is an island.
Facts.
And personally, I just believe that if I was doing it by myself, Olympus wouldn't have gotten to where it is right now.
Yeah.
Being sponsored, being a sponsor, having more and more people joining in the team, because Jugs has his own image, Bruce has his own image, Komaldi, myself, the whole of we as a unit have our own image, and we'll get more and more people.
Yeah.
You get me? And the mere fact that Sam can feel comfortable with sponsoring us because he sees who we are and knows that him doing business with us is not like he's going to regret it, because he knows what we do. You get me? He knows what we look like. And if we're selling supplements or even marketing the supplements for him, at the end of the day, you need an image to market the supplements off. Okay, you know, no scrawny man. Look pasty. Like say, him never see the inside of a gym before. I market supplements.
A legitimate marketing.
You get me? So I couldn't have done it without having a team with me, and they've motivated me. Each of you guys have motivated me to do better. Each of you guys have dedicated your own time into the business itself. So the second most important thing is to have a team with you. It doesn't have to be a big team like mine. It can be even an next person. It can be two persons, whichever one is you're comfortable, but it has to be trustworthy and dedicated people. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Might as well just sit and just a chill, call it a ends.
And that's literally like number 5 people Ricky just listed for it. But I don't think there's really much else I can add. We both are in the same business, so just piggybacking off what Ricky said, the perseverance aspect, stay confident in what you're doing, put 100 and 200% if possible in what you're doing. If you're going to do something, might as well just you know, go all out and done. You know, so my mom used to always tell me if I gotta do something, just do it properly and done. You know, yeah, you know, have a team behind you. You know, things like that they'll help you to push you in times where you fall flat on your face or you don't feel motivated. You know, and maybe not necessarily a team. If you don't have a team, you can also have friends or family members who are there helping you to push your business. You know. So yeah, I don't really think there's much else I can add. I don't know if you'd like to add anything to that, Jokes.
Yeah, I'll say
you'd recommend for people getting into business. Yeah.
Develop an idea, or you know, construct an idea or thought process of something that you know that's economically viable. And second of all, alright, so you're going to take that idea when you earn a certain level of capital, you can branch off into other areas. You know, you build up. So same thing, we, you know, we start off with just the idea, the facility. Now we're in podcasting, training programs, you know, partnership deals. You know, so for somebody who, third thing I would say, try to like learn a new skill as you go along. Yeah. Because you never know when a new skill you can add to your business.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
Number 3. And then I think the other two stuff, you basically everybody collectively said it already. So
yeah, we pretty much covered that aspect. Alright, diving into the third question now. I know this one is probably a little more of a chilled question, but what would you say are the perks of starting a business or necessarily working for somebody?
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, initially there's probably no perks at all, honestly, because if you're starting, especially if you started like how I said you should start with no capital, you're not taking salary. The most you're taking is your living expenses if you can make that.
Yeah.
And I suggest you get your living expenses as low as possible if you're starting and you don't have any backing, right? If you're not living if you don't have a place if you're paying rent, you know, you have to pay for food, that kind of thing, gas, you know, utilities. Keep your living expenses as low as possible when you're starting, because every extra dollar you can put back into the business will help.
Yeah.
In terms of perks, right? I mean, look, one thing that I realized after my 4-year degree, in the process of getting my 4-year degree actually, is that I cannot work for people. I can't sit there and take orders from people. Even there's an exception. I know that when people know more than me, I know when I'm supposed to listen.
Yeah.
Even as an entrepreneur, because if I talk to people and they've been in the industry long to me, or they're simply older than me, remember I'm still only 24. I just turned 24 in March.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who've been in business for more years than I've been alive.
So you still have a lot to learn.
So I have a lot to learn. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
So when people talk and you know that these people have something you would want, shut up and listen. And this is a complete aside, but if somebody has the things that you want or the life that you want, when that person talks, especially if they're giving advice or anything, you need to shut up and listen. Because if you want those things, who better to listen to than somebody who already has them?
Yeah, more wise than yourself.
And I mean, and touching on that, same thing with that. If somebody's giving you advice and they don't have the life that you want, you don't have to listen. I always think you should be respectful to people, especially people who are older than you. But if they don't have the life that you want, it doesn't make any sense to listen to them, because they don't know anything to get the things that you want. So the things that they're telling you, they're probably not helpful.
Yeah, they
might, you know, have your best interest at heart, but they simply don't know what it takes to get what you want. Otherwise, they might have it.
Yeah.
But in regards to the perks of doing business, eventually you'll get to a point. You know, they say one of the perks is you set your own hours, but when you're starting, those are just all the hours.
Yeah.
So you're working.
You might be working more hours than
And I definitely recommend. I not even recommend. I think it's mandatory when you're starting your own business. Because when I started, right, I was doing everything. I was doing the accounting, I was doing the social media, I was doing the marketing, I was doing the graphic design, I was doing the deliveries, everything. I was doing the sales outreach.
You need a team.
Yeah, but here's the thing: most people can't afford a team when they're starting. You have to do everything, and that's actually pretty good because you learn how to do everything. So when you hire people to do things, you know what you're looking for. You know when they're making mistakes, and you can basically correct them and make them go in the direction you want because you know the job. If you have somebody doing a job and you've never done that job before, you have no idea how to correct them if you don't get the result you want.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah,
You just don't know what's going on.
As Jugs mentioned earlier, and it's good if you, as you say, you can learn a new skill, so you understand how your company works. Yeah.
So just a quick example. I used to do the graphic design. Like I did my first logo. I just had it redone a couple months ago, like 2 months ago. I think I sent you the new logo. Yeah. I wouldn't have known what to tell the other person or the graphic design artist that I hired to do it for me if I hadn't done my first logo myself.
Yeah.
And I used a free logo maker. Remember what I said about starting with no capital? It was 300 pixels by 300 pixels. It was so blurry.
Yeah.
But you could see the word SAMROCK supplements, and we have a diamond, an orange diamond. That's our symbol. It just plays on the word rock, you know. SAMROCK in itself is a play on Jamrock, but you know, my name is Samir. That's why I just took my name out of it, because I'm a narcissist, so I want my name on the building. And I always had a dream, you know, if I was going to start a company, I'd have a big ass skyscraper somewhere, and it would say the SAMROCK building. So I get to put my name on a building one day. We'll see. Yeah. But another perk, I'll say this, is that there's no limit on what you can do, and this is a perk you get from the beginning. If you can visualize it and you can dream it, and you have the time and the dedication, and you develop the skills to get it, you can get there as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There's no limit to your salary. There's no limit to your vision. If you're working a job and these are your working hours, you get X amount of overtime a week. Your income is limited to that.
Everything is fixed.
Everything is fixed by somebody else, not even yourself.
Yeah.
So, and then in terms of the scope of your job, you can always ask for more responsibilities, go out of your way to get promotions, you know, try and get assigned to different roles. But again, your scope of work is limited by somebody else or by the company that you work for. Exactly. As an entrepreneur, you have to literally know how to do everything. You don't have to know how to do everything really, really good, but you have to know a little piece of everything. Yeah. And then when you finally find the place in your business where you slot in the best, you can do anything and everything under that, in that position, because it's your company, it's your business. You can do it how you want it to be done. If you disagree with how something is done in your company, more often than not, you're unable to change that. Even if you disagree with it, you know a better way. You know, some things are just set in stone. Exactly. It's unfortunate, but sometimes, you know, companies, especially large companies, when they have a process or a protocol, it's very difficult to change that. You know? Yeah. But when you work in your own company, when you work for yourself, you decide how things are done. But again, that's a double-edged sword, because if you don't do things well, you know, there's nobody to hold you. There's nobody to hold you accountable. Exactly. Yeah? The only people holding you accountable is your customers. Yep. And believe me, they're gonna vote with their money, because if you don't deliver, you're not getting paid.
That's hard reality.
So there's something else I want to try input. Is that when you're starting a business, at the end of the day, all of the billionaires out there that got to where they are right now, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, they all at some point started investing or having shares in other big companies as well. That's how they even amass their wealth, because you can't just depend on just one thing. There are other things you can dip your toes into, and it can even get you a lot more, amass more wealth for you.
Especially once your business is up and grown.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, sure.
So I would say for people, especially people who are starting their own business, you don't get rich with diversified investments. That's a lie that's perpetuated a lot by people who don't really know what they're talking about. You make your money in one thing most of the time. You make the majority of your money from one thing, and you're being really, really good at that one thing. And then once you have a certain amount of capital, you can diversify. Because there's a saying, right?
You spread yourself too thin.
It's kind of. When you're trying to make money, you're playing an attacking game. When you're trying to keep your money, you're playing a defending game. So when you're trying to make money, you want to focus on one thing as much as possible, one company, and then when it gets to a certain point, you can take that money and put it in other diversified things. And you can get a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit from here. But when you need to make money, remember, if you have $200 to invest, right, and you put it in the stock market, and that goes up 2%, you're making what, 2% of 200? Is that $4? You're making $4 in a diversified portfolio. All right. Whereas if you were to invest that in your business, you can get a 2x. You can get a 4. You can make $400 off your $200. But the risk is much higher. But you're never gonna get to $400. Think about how long it would take you to get to $400 with $200 at 2% interest. All right. So again, when you're trying to make money, you're playing an attacking game. You want to focus on one thing. When you're trying to keep your money and just grow it over time, when you're trying to grow your wealth, then you can diversify. Yeah, so that's why billionaires, like Elon, he made most of his money in PayPal.
Yeah.
So he made his first, I don't know if it was $1 billion, I think it was his first 100 million or so when he sold PayPal. And that's when he used that money to start SpaceX and, Tesla and all those. But he made his money in PayPal to start.
Oh, so he maximized that first.
Yeah, and then he got to exit, and then he invested that money in other places.
Yeah.
Alright? So that's what I recommend for people. You don't need to be focusing on investments if you can't live off of the interest off your money, or the interest off your money is not equal to your living expenses or even a good portion of your living expenses. It doesn't make any sense to be investing that type of capital, because you can get a much better return investing into yourself. Again, it's higher risk, but you're never going to get to the point you want to be if you're always doing diversified low yield investments.
Yeah, makes sense.
True.
Makes sense.
True. So don't live above your means. Don't buy big beasts and live in our boardhouse.
Yeah.
Enough man to that,
Yeah.
Buy Benz and live in our boardhouse.
Or still live in the ghetto and you want to add it.
Yeah. That pretty much sums up the perk section. I don't think we do have any more perks to cover. The usual perks, you have more control over your time and, money and all those different things. But as Sam said earlier, there's also the downsides to that. If those things don't work out, it can end badly for you, because if you're not, at least when you're employed to somebody, there's more, I guess you can say, structure. There's more security, financial security, because you're getting X amount by the end of the month, so you can plan accordingly. You're working for yourself. There's uncertainty, things can come up. This client might not show up X day, lose this money, the business, something goes wrong.
Oh my God, guys!
Jesus Christ!
My God!
It's random way. Yeah.
That can be in the bloopers.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, pretty much. But like with anything else in life, peeps, there's upsides and downsides to it. Don't feel discouraged.
Yeah.
And don't leave your 9 to 5 just because you want to have more free time. Actually have a business plan that you're going towards and maximize, as Sam said earlier.
Look, if you have a 9 to 5 and you're trying to start a business, stay in the 9 to 5 until that business can pay for your expenses.
Exactly.
I know I said 110% commitment, but don't make yourself go homeless, man. Look, I understand, going all in, but
it's not practical.
There's situations where you gotta be smart. Like working 9 to 5, and if you gotta work 12 hours a night, you work 12 hours a night. Just so you can have that money, so you don't have to worry.
You can use your 9 to 5 to supply your business.
Exactly.
It's
until the business can supply.
Don't just I have a business idea, boss, I quit. Go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
This job is shit.
Eating $50 ramen noodles for dinner because
don't let it be a case where once the business you start seeing changes and you start making, don't just still stay in it for a while, because you still want to make sure that the business plan that you got to this point is a solid one, because things can change over time. The market can change, everything can change, so make sure that you're playing your cards right.
Yeah, so you have any input on that with owning a business?
Yeah, just to finish off with the record, I said. So as I said before, the business we want to venture in a business in the market also, it should be something that's viable. As Ricardo say, you have to have an exit strategy if it don't work out. So for the most part, like there was this time in a COVID, Kevin Samuels was interviewing this lady and she was talking about some car dealership business, and he was saying because of COVID, the businesses are shutting down by a 97% rate. And he was saying the best thing to do, not be delusional, not say, it's going to work out, like with this lady calling a customer say. He was basically telling her to just, call it quits. It's going to fail. It's a 97% failure rate, so don't continue with it.
You have to be adaptive based on the climate.
Exactly.
Well, pretty much. This next question is another thought-provoking question. What exactly? All right.
Are you self-employed?
No, I was gonna say. So, what do you think the difference is between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur?
That's a very good question. Alright, so self-employed is when you create a job for yourself, essentially. Being an entrepreneur, if you can't is building a company or building a business that you can step away from.
Yeah.
If you can't leave your business,
Yeah.
you're self-employed.
That's true.
If you can step away from your business for a good portion of time, not just a few days, then, and I'm stealing this definition, by the way, I just in case anybody wants to,
Yeah.
I'm stealing it from the Nigerian guy who's like a really big entrepreneur, right? And he's always giving talks. I'm stealing it from him,
Yeah.
just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't source peeps. We're not stealing any content here. Just borrowing it for, yeah.
Borrowing it for educational purposes. Yeah? All credit to him. But if you can't step away from your business, then you're self-employed.
Yeah.
You're a business
solely
owner.
reliant on
You're a business owner. You might have employees, but you're still self-employed.
Yeah.
You're not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur can create something of value that can operate without the presence of that entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of being an entrepreneur is that you can create something that's self-sustaining.
Yeah.
So
That
if
makes
you
sense.
can create a company, so I'm going to use myself as an example here. I am self-employed 100%. I cannot step away from my business for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But I'm working on building systems so that eventually I can. And the reason I don't choose to step away is because one, I like working in it, it's my baby.
Hands-on.
You know, I like being hands-on, and I like one thing that really helped me when I started was being face-to-face with the customers. A lot of times, supplement stores in Kingston, you go in there, you ask for what you want, and they just give it to you.
Yeah.
They don't give you any recommendations. They don't ask anything about yourself. So
Doesn't
what
feel personalized.
It doesn't feel personalized, exactly. So what I tried to do is I went by this principle, especially because I was the new guy on the block. Nobody knew who I was, and this is especially true through social media where nobody can see you. Is people buy from people. I explained this to Ricardo when we were working on social media. People, it's easy to just present an option and say it's good for this, right? Buy it because it's good for this. Buy it because there's this big buff guy holding it, yeah. Or if you take it, it'll look like him. But if you can, understand what a person wants, what their goals are, what their needs are, what their fears are, it's much easier to sell to them, and they're much more likely to come back. So every customer that comes to me, I ask them what your goals are. How do you plan to achieve these goals? Are you currently, dieting? What is your experience? Do you have any dietary issues? How long do you plan on sticking with it? I give them a bunch of questions.
You sound like you actually care about your customers. You're not just trying to sell a product. Yeah.
That allows me to give them the best product, for their situation. And then in turn, the customer can feel that.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to come back. One thing that I've gotten, the feedback I've gotten from my customers is that they always say, SAMROCK supplements, excellent customer service. And the few staff that I have, I've trained them to do the same.
Yeah. Yeah, you bring on the point, and I don't want to draw this out, but you bring on the point on customer service. I find that's something that is really, really, excuse my French, very shitty in Jamaica. Customer service, a lot of businesses believe that, customer service doesn't need to be good because my business is doing well. They're going to buy my product anyway. Once a monopoly is absurd, that's not going to work anymore. People are going to find a business that they feel at home with.
I mean, that's the same thing. Once people think, I'm the cheapest,
Yeah.
I can treat my customers anyway. You see, I learned this working downtown in the wholesale. Is that, I'm the cheapest.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can treat you like shit just because you're coming in here, and I know you can't afford to go in your house. I can treat you like shit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work. Well, I mean, it does work because it's Jamaican culture.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
And I notice it's especially with a lot of larger businesses, they tend to be so, what's the word? Disconnected from their customers.
Yes, that's
Smaller
true.
businesses, as I say, are more personalized, up in your face, hands-on.
I mean,
and
that's the trouble because think about this. I experienced exactly what you say. So when I talk to a customer and I put them through that battery of questions, it feels personalized, it feels connected, But then I go and train somebody to do that. And essentially it's me doing it by proxy, but there's already a layer of disconnection there because I'm using somebody else to do it. And I understand that person can then feel disconnected, that person can then feel connected to the person I hired, to the staff, but it's never going to be the same as if they had the owner doing it.
Yeah.
But that's just how business works at scale. It's hard to manage that. And the thing is, large companies, what they do is they forget what they started on. And they get so big that, you have too big to fail and whatever. But they just get so big that it's just impossible not to use their services anymore. And, you lose that sort of personal touch.
Yeah.
You can get that through hiring good staff, which is very difficult in Jamaica, by the way. Very difficult. Training them well, paying them well. Knowing your customer. A lot of times businesses, they think they know their customer, they really don't. The market's always changing, but at the same time, customers often, they don't even know what they want.
Yeah, that's true.
They think this is the right option for them.
Yeah.
But and this goes for any industry. They think this is the right option for them. It might not be. They are most of them aren't experts on what they're buying. Most of them don't know anything.
Well, let's be honest. People are. I don't mean to sound super negative here. But people are sheep by nature. So somebody needs to, as I say, put something in front of them and give them a reason to want it. You know, or tell them what they need to have in their life. You know?
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. If you can tell people what they need,
there is a lot of psychology behind business.
That's a whole marketing strategy right there. That's an entire episode right there on marketing.
Yeah. What about you, Ricky? What do you say the differences between self-employed? Because I know right now you're technically self-employed because you work as a personal trainer. And an entrepreneur.
So I work as a personal trainer. I also have Olympus, so I'm self-employed for 2 businesses. So it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of consideration, and as Sam said, a lot of very good customer service, and people don't know and take good customer service very much for granted. You see, when you treat people good, people are more inclined and will feel comfortable doing business with you. You can't just be the type that is, even if you get up to a point, right? At the end of the day, if you started out people with a very good character, being nice, being courteous, and the moment you switch up, you start being, for lack of a better word, an asshole to them, people are going to say, you know what, I don't think this is really worth it. He was this, but now he's not anymore, so, you know what, I'm not really, because I've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
You get me, I say?
Because it's like even take a multi-billion-dollar business like Amazon. Amazon started off as, you know, a very small business, like any other business, but super personalized, you know, like an online store. You know, they hired people for the business. They were well taken care of and all of that. And if you look at Amazon now compared to when it started, like 10 years ago?
About 1994.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Remember, it was a bookstore before.
It was a bookstore.
Yeah, it was online books only.
When did it become an online marketplace?
I know. They partnered with Toys R Us in, I can't remember. I think it was 2007.
2007.
I don't quote me on that. I don't know.
But it's sometime in the early 2000s.
Yeah, well, right now they're the way they treat the employees and stuff like that. It's like a revolving door for them. So,
Well, I mean that's what happens when you get so big. But what Amazon has done essentially is they've become an essential part of the ecosystem of not just business but the world. Everybody, you know, that's
so they can treat it any way they feel like essentially.
Yeah,
they know they'll win. We need them.
They're gonna win in the long run. But I mean, you know, I don't want to knock them too hard because, you know, it's not easy to, a company like that is just ridiculous in and of itself, because it's just, you know, what kind of company is Amazon? Is Amazon an e-commerce company? No, Amazon is a logistics company. Amazon has a better logistics system than UPS, than what are those other companies in there? UPS, DHL, FedEx, all of those guys. It's bigger than the United States Postal Service. So when you become bigger than a government or bigger than a country, and not just a small country, you know,
also almost as big as United States GDP, which is crazy.
You're it's very difficult to control what you're doing, and you know they do take advantage where they can take advantage. I'll say that.
True.
But you also have to look at the fact that if somebody wants something and they don't know where to get it, the first
Amazon.
place they say is, "Oh, I'll just go check Amazon."
It's by default.
So we all use Amazon, so we're all supporting that. And while it's unfortunate, and you know we need systems in place so you know staff are treated fairly, employees are paid fairly.
But that's really the difference between
entrepreneurship and
no, not really entrepreneurship and being self-employed.
I mean the small and big businesses.
Yeah, because if you're Amazon and if I want something at a very affordable cost, because things in Jamaica are very expensive, I can go on Amazon. But the thing with Amazon is, as Sam said, it has been so integrated in our lives that we need it. It's one of the most convenient things to do. So if you want to, on a whim, treat your staff like garbage, then you can, because at the end of the day you're still going to win. But versus if you have not gotten to that point, what is the sense? you still need the good customer service, because you can be hit out of the game just like that by anybody. It could even be by a new business that started more recently than yours.
Yeah.
You get me?
I mean, think about it. Amazon killed how many businesses?
Several.
Amazon killed. What was the bookstore called? There's a big online bookstore that existed before, and it was a physical bookstore as well. I can't remember the name. And I remember I used to buy books from there.
Yeah.
And it was I used to love going there because I used to read a lot of books as a kid. And once Amazon came around, they went out of business. And they had locations all over the place, retail locations, and they used to have coffee stores in the locations, sit and buy a book and read and drink some coffee. And then they had their online portion as well, and Amazon completely wiped them out.
Yeah.
And they were a massive business.
The Amazon is very, as I said, very flexible, because as I said, it's a huge marketplace. It's really hard for them to go to a business.
Yeah,
true.
You know?
Amazon isn't tied to any one product or any one industry.
Yeah.
Amazon literally connects all industries together, because you can buy a house on Amazon now, can't you?
Literally.
Quite.
Portable homes. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing till the other day.
I'm almost sure you can buy a house, you can buy a boat. I'm not sure if you can buy cars yet, but
Don't be surprised.
you know, it's quite ridiculous. You can get your weekly grocery shop from Amazon. You can get your medication from Amazon now.
Everything.
I think you can get a doctor prescription on Amazon, or you can get a consult with a doctor on Amazon.
Probably even buy pets at this point.
It's just it's kind of crazy, but that's what happened. That's what happens when you take entrepreneurship to the limit.
Exactly.
That's the kind of
initiative,
things you can build.
Yeah. And Jeff Bezos doesn't even have to put in much of his time.
Yeah, the business essentially runs itself.
It runs itself.
If he could step away tomorrow, it would be
Exactly. That's a key
That's the
thing in
entrepreneurship
entrepreneurship. He
aspect.
chooses to stay involved.
Yeah.
He can simply take a buyout, or just say, "Hey, manage it for me. I'm gone. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's I have my money. I made my money. I'm filthy rich. I'll never need this much money.
Yeah.
So I don't care."
Yeah, the vision has already been met,
We see how hard it is to step away.
No, it is. It's very.
Very hard.
That's the big difference, as you said, between the entrepreneurship and the self-employed aspect. Because a lot of us here are technically self-employed right now. I say once we meet the vision and the business is self-sustainable, you have employees, other people can take over without your intervention. That's when you've reached that level of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But what would you say about that whole aspect, self-employed versus entrepreneurship?
I say the difference is when you're self-employed, it not necessarily means you own a business.
You're self-sustainable.
Yeah, self-sustainable. And entrepreneurship now is when I create a business idea, well, I create a business venture through the means of having a business idea, and then raising the capital, maybe employ staff, whatever. So that's really the difference between both of them.
Yeah.
But they're kind of similar.
Yeah,
Not the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Alright, so final question, peeps. I haven't bored you out to death, Alright,
My fault.
Alright, so the final question is, and obviously we're going to start off with you, Sam. What does success look like to you?
That's
It's a challenging question.
That's a challenging question, because I remember success at one point meant for me quite literally making $50,000 profit a month.
Yeah.
That was I remember I have an application that I use for invoicing called Zoho. It's a free application software. Again, this ties back to starting with zero capital. It does invoicing for free, and you can email your invoice to your clients, or you can print it and give it to them physically, or just download a PDF and WhatsApp it to them. And what it does is that when you make a sale, it tracks the sales per month.
Yeah.
So on a monthly basis, you can see, and it tracks it in this little bar graph. So every month you can see the bar, and just trying to make that bar go up every month.
Yeah.
That was success to me.
Yeah.
Like literally every month I said, okay, you know what, I had 100 this month, I'm gonna go 200 next month, All right, next month, it's 300 or 250.
Those small wins.
Every month I would just try and get a little bit higher, make that bar a little bit higher, and then you can look back at it and see the bar go, you know, you can see the trend over time. That was what success meant to me at the very beginning. But now, it's more in terms of, I think of it now in terms of, landing big clients. I think of it now in terms of, instead of my monthly sales, I think of it in terms of shipments per month. So how many shipments can I sell in a month? And again,
these are more milestones for you. Yeah.
But in terms of success, success for me is simply put this: when I'm able to do whatever I want, when I want.
Yeah.
If that means tomorrow I want to step on a private plane and go to Italy, it means I can do that. If that means I just want to go fuck off and go sleep on the Hillshire beach.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's just being able to do what you want
Yeah.
when you want.
sleep with some rich asshole's wife, you know, on the beach, you know. Yeah.
I don't know where you got that from, but I mean, the key point is that is the actual end goal of entrepreneurship. It's being able to do what you want when you want, and that could even mean working all the time. Because I'll be honest, I love working. I love working on my business. I love seeing it grow, and sometimes all I want to do is just work.
So you could never see yourself stepping away from your business?
Okay, so it depends, and so I'm gonna give you my end goal for my business, for my distribution company. So we have SAMROCK supplements, which is the supplements you see in front of you, and SAMROCK distributors, which actually supplies these same products to supermarkets as well as a range of other products.
Yeah.
Right. My goal is to end up competing with the big guys in the Caribbean. So we have Grace, Cinco, Massey, those guys. You actually saw a couple of them at the event we went to the other day, Ricardo.
Yeah.
You know, having a booth there next to them, that really put it in perspective to me what I'm up against. Because these guys, you know, they've been around for generations.
True.
And they have money to throw at problems like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And
also eliminate problems too.
But
don't know if we're going into detail there, but yeah.
But
Yeah.
mine we get eliminated now, of course. But my goal is to have a company like that, to have a company that's, you know, recognizable in the region. You know, Grace is recognizable in the Caribbean. It's even recognizable in the States to some degree. To have SAMROCK distributors or SAMROCK Industries or SAMROCK Incorporated, whichever it is, just recognize my logo, recognized regionally and then hopefully globally. I don't know. Honest to God, I can't tell you the exact path I'm going to get there because I'm still, you know, taking one step at a time.
Yeah, but you have that vision though, which is important.
But that's what I want.
Yeah.
And maybe at that point, I can see myself stepping away, saying, you know, I did my job. I can pass this legacy on to my family and my kids.
Yeah.
It's my time to relax. But until then, that's
SAMROCK, a household name.
I want to make SAMROCK a household name. Yeah.
Just like how we want to make Olympus a household name too.
Yeah, can live on after we pass.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so success, I'd say success for us is basically essentially the same thing, you know, creating a mammoth of a business that can essentially not only revolutionize Jamaica or the Caribbean, but becomes an international brand that lives on for generations, you know. Yeah. So that's definitely my definition of success.
Yeah, we want to make sure that at the end of the day, as Sam said, if we want to step out and go Greece, because the name
Colosseum.
The Colosseum.
Yeah.
Well, that's
to shoot some content.
Shoot some content.
Yeah.
Probably go to do the podcast in a different country every week or something, you know, and have different people guest
from all over the world.
Yeah.
Barbados.
That's exactly
what.
Reach
Up Barbados. Barbados no mash up now because hurricane.
Him just want to go back there, man.
But not only just that, but we also want to put our efforts into things that are important, like charities, fitness events, like what FitFest put on. We want to put on maybe a Olympus 5K because
you guys are powerlifters. You don't do cardio.
No, but I do physical therapy.
We're a fitness brand, so I think we encompass anything fitness really support.
No, that was a joke. No, because the joke is powerlifters don't do cardio. I've never seen. I think if I ever saw jugs on a treadmill, I'd
be worried.
I think.
No, man, I used to play rugby, you know.
Yeah, me and Jugs used to play rugby.
That's funny.
We're not gonna live down a crocus bag moment there, Jugs.
Yo, no. I push Jugs over the fence, you know.
No, because my shoes could have fit in the
Yeah, sure, it's the shoes.
And look, whether or not it's the shoes or whatever else, I'm still have to just push up, yeah?
Yeah, you get me, bro. But that's also a part of the vision, putting on charity events to get the country moving more, because there's been a pandemic of lifestyle diseases, diabetes, hypertension, stroke, stuff like that. Yeah, and we want to make sure that Jamaica is a healthy country, because everybody knows how big a broad and how big a yard. Jamaica is famous everywhere. Everybody wants to be a Jamaican.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's really the vision. But yeah, we want to shoot content in other countries as well. European countries, Indian countries, Asian countries, and make the podcast even more interesting. So that's the big vision for us.
Man, grow the business on our fronts.
I'd love to see you guys go travel around and do some content in like powerlifting gyms around the place. Like do some content at like what is it? What's Bradley Martin's gym called again? Zoo Fitness.
Zoo Fitness.
Zoo Fitness.
Zoo Culture.
Yeah.
You know, go to Alpha Elite Gym or go to the Gymshark Gym in London.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. I'd love for that. I'd love to see you guys. Hopefully, you guys can take me with you.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
oh, we need
Can
to do a
always
workout.
go and
in
link-
Lille.
Yeah, we need to. But Sam has been,
You know, it's like living the self-employed lifestyle.
We'll have a private
Always
jet
fucking
named
busy.
Mount Olympus.
Eh?
Well, a private jet named
Mount Olympus.
No,
yeah.
it shouldn't it be what is Hercules? What not Hercules? Hermes' chariot. Shouldn't it be that?
Oh yeah, Hermes chariot. Yeah, true.
Does it get flat?
True. Yeah, but
Yeah, pretty much. You have anything to add to that, Jugs? What does success look like to you?
Yeah, yes indeed. So for me personally, success
Jugs
is
just want him own storage room of supplements.
Yeah. I'm collect over the years, you know?
also a Christmas tree with made just out of metal, you know,
Yeah.
45 1K. But yeah, success is a very multifaceted.
What would that even?
thing, you know. It doesn't have to be, you know, financial success. It can be fitness, it can be relationship and marriage. Yes,
Yeah.
Bruce, get married, Bruce.
Why is this guy looking at me?
It can be, you know, success in school. So
Yeah.
it's just about setting, basically like a long-term goal, and then you set small goals to hit that, you know, that milestone, the final goal. That's basically success in a nutshell.
Yeah, so success in all facets of your life,
Yeah.
basically.
Being able to do what you want.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, peeps, that was an amazing episode, you know. Appreciate it again, Sam.
Thank you guys for
Appreciate
having me.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate the invite, guys. Thank you for listening
we
to me rant
appreciate
for an
having
hour.
you here.
Oh, peeps, I'm going to get in the next episode, relationship one, so don't worry, I'm not gone yet. We still want to get the other side to you.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Don't get too triggered.
Alright,
Don't get too
please
triggered.
don't cancel him, I beg you, no, please.
Don't come to it. pitch
Cancel
it.
No,
us.
If you cancel me, I can't sponsor them anymore. So
Yeah, man. You see, you can't get rid of it.
So
Yeah.
just don't cancel him.
Yeah. Alright, peeps, so check out the supplements. The link will be in the description below. Sam's website and also his IG page. Y'all can reach out to him if you need any supplements. The guy has the best deals in Jamaica by far. You know, anywhere you go in Jamaica, you're gonna have a hard time getting affordable supplements. He's the guy for you, right? And you also do free delivery.
free delivery in Kingston, alright? Once you're in Kingston, and we do it like Amazon, we were just talking about. If you order before 12, get it same day. Alright?
Yes, sir. Alright, and don't forget about Olympus to peeps. Yeah, check us out also on all socials. Alright, today was a fantastic episode. Thanks for tuning in once again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Oh, we'll be doing a giveaway, so stay tuned after the credits roll. Alright? Olympus. Alright, so peeps, so we're doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away some credit right now. Alright, so don't worry. Digicel or Lime, or Flow, sorry. Alright, so I want y'all to guess, what's the price of this Muscle Tech supplement?
Remember, that's the 4-pound bottle, not the 2-pound bottle.
Yeah, so this is 4 pounds. So y'all have 3 guesses. Answer A is 20,000, answer B 15, answer C 12. Whoever guesses that right will win a phone credit. Welcome Lincolns, welcome back to Olympus Talks. I'm your host Zeus. Ladies, Batty boy.